We do it, baby. We rollin'!
Covering MMA from all over the world, this is the premier stop for all your combat sports needs. MMA Junkie Radio, the only show broadcasting live from the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. The lights are on and the mics are hot. It's time to get your MMA fix, junkies. Take it away, Big John.
Gorgeous George and Coach, are you ready? Junkie Nation, are you ready? Well, let's get it on.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Race and Sportsbook, you are listening to the MMA Junkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George, with me as always is the devious and dastardly goes, our ace co-host, back east producing the show, Andre the Giant, sitting to my right, UFC bantamweight Vince Morales. What's up? How you doing?
Doing great, man. Excited to be here.
All right, my man. We're excited to have you, and this is a great week in sports because as we do the show, Vince, we're gonna have Game 6 of the NBA Finals. So I don't know if you're one of them dudes that I'm all about combat sports. I don't know about gloves and basketball or balls or any of that other stuff or what. But yesterday we got to see a Game 7 with the St. Louis Blues. Congratulations to them. They defeated the Boston Bruins. They're the NHL Stanley Cup champions for 2018 and 19. We were actually coming off the air when the third period was about to start, but they won it, man. And tonight we may have a new NBA champion. You a fan of other sports?
Yeah. I wish I could say yeah. But no, MMA and boxing have basically all my focus.
You kind of had this look as I was talking of, man, I could care less.
No.
About other
I was
sports.
trying to catch up to what you're saying because I don't know anything about it.
Right. No, I get it. Not other sports they're not for other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In fact, Donald Cerrone, he doesn't even like MMA. He doesn't even follow MMA or when it's just when it's time to fight, cool. If his teammates are fighting, cool. But if you were to tell him, who you got, man, Chael or Machida, he'd be like, they're fighting. He really wouldn't know that. There's a lot of people that just.
Yeah, one of my training partners is exactly the same way. Doesn't follow boxing, doesn't follow MMA really or anything.
Yeah.
But still a little savage in there. So.
Okay.
You know what's weird, dude?
It doesn't work for some people.
I don't know if you can co-sign on this, but honestly, the most important thing in my day, like today's the finals of the NBA.
Right.
It probably should be that.
Yeah.
It's what I'm gonna eat.
That's
if I don't know what that is.
That's the most exciting part of the day, or just right now that you're thinking about?
Just the whole day. Like I need to know in the morning. If I don't know what that plan is. That's the thing that's really
up there for me too.
It's gotta be, right? You gotta know what it is.
Yeah, it's up there for me too. But I'm also consumed with my little dog. Just like, I gotta get him out because of the heat. It's like you can attest to this, Vince.
Sure.
It's 104 today, and you can't mess around past 9 a.m. I see people walking their dogs, and I want to be one of those nosy people that rolls down the window when I'm driving. Man, what are you doing? It's 94. It's like 97. The dog's like. I don't even think they're enjoying it, but I don't know if I just caught them on what might be like a block or two, and then they're coming back, and that's okay. But if you're actually going out there and maybe logging a few miles in that kind of heat, I don't know that that's good. I think 90's my cutoff for cement and asphalt. Otherwise, I scoop them up and take them to the park, and then there's grass, and it's trees and shade, and I just keep an eye on them. But you got to be careful here in Vegas. And then the motherfuckers that actually take them in the car and leave them for, I'm just going to get my cleaners, or whatever. Yeah, you don't know because when you're there, if they just go, if the person, people are distracted. Me too. But if you go in there and they go, I'll be right with you, this register's jammed, and you for some reason just having to look at your phone and get distracted, and then they give you the clothes, and then, oh my God, that could turn into 2 minutes. Your pet is suffering,
For sure.
So I just recommend you don't do that. I mean, other than if they're going with you and you're going through maybe a drive-through or something, the ATM or something like that, then I just leave the pet at home. Trust me, they'll be okay. They'll love you when you get back. So anyway, that's a heads up to dog owners. Are you a dog owner?
I'm not yet. Anyways, once my girlfriend moves over here with me, we're probably gonna have to change
Vegas
that.
is gonna be home now.
Yeah. Yep. I'm in the middle of the move. I got the apartment set. Got some of my furniture and stuff set up in there. Just waiting for the rest of my stuff that's back in Boise. So I'm still getting used to the heat here, by the way. And my girlfriend to get here. So
okay.
It's okay for me to say this because I'm Latino. But what Chihuahua or Pit Bull are you gonna get?
Like in any of those, actually.
None of those?
No.
Okay, we have a Jack Russell Terrier.
Oh, really? Gotcha.
Yeah. We broke the mold.
One of my roommates actually had a small Yorkie that actually became a big fan of. So I want to get something like that. Yeah.
I like them. So. They have a lot of personality, but I'm always afraid to step on them because I've stepped on my dog before. And
it's terrible.
Yeah, he doesn't. It hurts, right? Like he's a little guy. Our dog's about this size. So every once in a while, when you're backing up, you step on his foot. I'm afraid if I do that to a Yorkie,
game over. Yeah.
That's funny. Now she has a dog, or you plan on getting the dog once they get?
She just keeps bugging me about getting a dog, so I know that it's kind of what she says.
You ever owned a dog before?
No, never.
Okay. Well, I hope you like walking them. I think that's a good thing.
I'm trying to wrap my head around all that stuff.
Yeah, I think that's something that all dog owners should do. And I see a lot of dog owners like in our block that, man, when I'm walking our dog, he's like making this big announcement, woohoo, I'm walking, barking. I hear the other dogs, but you just see some of them looking through the fence like, man, how come my guy don't take me for a walk? That there's this one German Shepherd that's always staring, and you can just tell he's going like, man. Jack Russell Terrier is lucky, he gets to go out and walk, and he doesn't walk as much.
Like when we were kids and a kid with a really cool bike came by.
Or a big wheel or a green machine. You might not be, you remember green machines?
No.
They rivaled the big wheel.
Really?
Yeah. And
like a tricycle?
The big wheel had a steering wheel. The green machine had levers. That's how you turned. So that's what was different about them. And it kind of was an Incredible Hulk color. When the Incredible Hulk was all that.
I'm going to Google this. What is it called again?
The green machine.
That vaguely sounds
So I wound up getting a
green machine.
You're like 23. How would you know?
28.
Oh, 28? Oh, okay. Well, I'm like a whole generation ahead of you, so you have every right to go, man, what's a typewriter? What's a rotary phone? You're young. I wish I was 28, you said, right?
28, yeah.
God, I wish I was 28.
This looks cool.
With this knowledge, though. When I was 28, I was an idiot. So
I hear that.
That's the green machine, yeah.
This looks like something that would have came out today.
That looks pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
Can you still buy one, by the way? I mean, not that I'm going to, but...
Yeah, $93.
Really? That's why you're holding it? Oh, wow. Did not know that. We're going to have a fun show today. Vince is coming off a win in May, and so we'll talk to him a little bit about that and see what's next for him. And then we also got Platinum Mike Perry. He's going to be on the show as well. He's all amped up. He wants a rematch with Cowboy Cerrone. I saw him tweet that, so
really?
Got my wheels thinking, like, let's catch up with Perry. He's coming off a big win over Cowboy in Sunrise, Florida, and it was like a week before yours, late April. So I think he's probably ready to dance pretty soon. That was a big win for him because he's from the state of Florida, and
he looked great.
Oliveira's no joke. That's a great win for him. So we'll talk to him. We'll also talk to Eric Albarracin, who is the head coach for two champs, Henry Cejudo and Patricio Pitbull Frady, who fights over at Bellator. He's the featherweight and lightweight champion over there. And, of course, Henry's the flyweight and bantamweight champion here. And in case you didn't know, the flyweight division is going to continue. So I know some of you dip in and dip out of MMA, for a day or two. So if you hadn't heard, once the fights were over, that was one of the things Dana White addressed in the press conference. Somebody pretty much put him point blank. May have been our writer, John Morgan, our reporter, John Morgan, who said, how about a little bit of a clarification? Like, did this clear things up, And Dana finally kind of gave a thumbs up. So
yeah, that was cool to hear. I was a little down thinking that they were going to get rid of the flyweight division. I just didn't like that idea.
Me too. And I get that it's not the most popular division, but it didn't suck.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And I thought it had potential because all this almost started on the heels of what was one of the most historical fights when Henry Cejudo beat Demetrius Johnson. It's the one Monday when we came in and said, man, what'd you think of that flyweight title fight? And we got some calls and Twitter blew up and like people were excited, because it was now 1-1 between those guys. There was a shift in the dynamic, and part of it was Demetrius was just so dominant, you know what I mean? But he's a little bit of a vanilla. He's a nice guy, and that's not a bad thing. He's just a nice guy, and he kind of didn't have swag for someone that just whoops ass and hadn't lost since like 2011. You'd think he would just say a thing or two that might stir the pot or get people excited about the division. But I still remember that fight. It was 2-2 going into the fifth round, and I just remember Twitter like, wow, like I wonder if Henry
that was one of the funner
through.
nights.
Exactly,
to be on
really,
social
really
media
fun.
during a fight.
So that would have been the last night that I would have said, hey, how about we pull the flyweight division? That would have been the night where I say, if somebody says that, I say, no, idiot. Like,
tonight that it turned the corner.
Yeah, let's wait 6 months if you're going to do that, or just not do it at all. But if we were going to do it, we should have done it prior to. I think right now it's going to start to peel off a little bit.
Yeah, just rolling. Yeah, if anything, that was kind of getting the excitement going. So I don't know.
And they went from 55 flyweights to 12 last Saturday. 12 was I think one of the final counts. So, but they're sticking around.
That's rough.
Yeah. All right. So those will be our guests, and obviously we invite you to be a part of the show by calling in 877-FIGHT-93, 877-344-4893. Let's talk a little bit about Bellator. Scott Coker said something interesting. Their president. He said he would be, he's open to a Bellator versus UFC matchup. Not necessarily like a night, hey, your champs versus ours or anything, but just kind of a little bit of the cross-promotion angle that they've been doing with Ryzen. So they sent their bantamweight champion, Darian Caldwell, over to Ryzen, and he fought Kyoji Horiguchi. He actually took a loss there. And now Kyoji Horiguchi's coming back to Bellator 222 tomorrow night, and Caldwell gets to defend his belt against the Ryzen champion. So Scott Coker's done this before when he was with Strikeforce, and so he's totally warmed to the idea. Somehow it came up, and it got my wheels thinking like, I mean, I know Dana White wouldn't be into it, but it doesn't mean that we can't have fun as fans and think about it. But immediately, guys, which matchup do you think about? Go.
Well, they did it before. That's the thing.
They did it?
Yeah.
UFC and
the UFC sent Chuck Liddell to Pride.
Yeah,
they sent Rico Rodriguez to Pride. So they've done it before.
Right.
They know that the risks that are involved. Chuck Liddell suffered a win, or he won. He beat Alistair Overeem. I know that's hard to believe, but this was at light heavyweight at the time.
Right.
He beat Alistair Overeem, and in the second round of the tournament, he lost to Quinton Rampage Jackson.
Right.
Now, granted, okay, maybe you take a hit there. But did it really affect the UFC? Chuck Liddell just came back, started whooping ass here.
At the time, a little bit goes, but not. Not necessarily their financials, but they kind of got punked a little bit because the deal was Vanderlei Silva was going to come over here. Remember, I think he came in with a Pride shirt and everything, and it just never happened. And so it was just more like a little bit of street cred where one organization punked the other one.
But
and
you don't think people forgot about it?
Those little hits at the time, that's all people would talk about. Because remember, there was only fights every 3 months. There was a pay-per-view. Then you had to wait 3 months, another pay-per-view. There wasn't these fight nights and all this other stuff. So for 3 months, they'd have to hear about how Pride put one over on them, and Pride at the time was maybe arguably number one. So that I know that bothered Dana White and ate up at him. Now, in the end, no, hell no. These guys are worth $7 billion, according to Dana White. They sold for $4.025 in 2016. So we know that they're at least worth that. And now they're with the leader, ESPN. End of story. But I think at the time, I think it was a little bit more significant.
I'm just saying, a couple months ago, when we and actually we brought this up before anyone, there was an MMA trade. Who would have ever thought that happened?
Yeah.
With one championship. So you can't discount everything. There are certain fighters that end up in kind of like a holding pattern sometimes. Who knows? Why doesn't the UFC just go, look, man, all right, we can't get you a fight here, but we can get you one in Bellator. Go over there and fight this dude or something.
Give me a matchup that doesn't involve champions, because actually our daily debate will cover this a little bit, so I don't want to talk about it two times. But how about a matchup between a Bellator fighter and a UFC fighter that doesn't involve
champions, though?
A champion, yeah. Is there one that kind of gets the wheels turning? How about you, Vince? You got one already, or are you thinking here?
Off the top of my head, well, it's ex-champion Tyron Woodley and Douglas Lima. I think I'd be interested to see how that goes down.
That'd be a good one. Two actually ATT teammates only under the banner. They don't really necessarily train at the same gym, but little subplot.
Yeah, there we go.
That's a good one.
I'm still thinking because mine involved a champion. The problem was he wasn't a champion back when I wanted to see this. Can't just say it anyway.
Yeah.
Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler, I think, would be fireworks. I think that would be, just stylistically, I think it would be so much fun.
That's interesting.
That really is a good one. I like that one. I was thinking like a Vitaly Minakov, one of their heavyweights, it's their former champion, against like a Derek Lewis. Just two guys that are going to go out there and slug it out. But Lewis is rehabbing a knee injury, and Vitaly Minakov's recovering from the loss he took to Chikongo. He was undefeated. He was like Khabib. He was like 21-0, 23-0, and he finally took a loss to a guy that he beat. So they're 1-1. But now Congo gets Bader, and I guess Vitaly will just have to build himself back up.
Yeah.
But we'll cover a little bit more of that on the daily debate. But Coker's just what I've always liked is he's tried the one-night tournament. He's a Grand Prix guy, and now he's got $1 million going to the winner of the Grand Prix. Sometimes he has the champion part of the Grand Prix. Sometimes he doesn't. Now they may do a 16-man Grand Prix for the featherweights, which includes Pico and McKee and all their studs. Daniel Strauss. So that one's going to be
fun.
Yeah, that one's going to be pretty stacked. Starting in the fall, but I've always liked that he's an out-of-the-box thinker. He's done hybrid fights where they do cage and ring on the same night.
I was there for that.
He's gone
There's
to
a
Europe.
lot of things that happened that people didn't realize.
Really?
Like if you were watching it on TV.
You were in San Jose?
I was in San Jose for that.
What happened?
The funniest part was watching the cut men would actually go back and forth sometimes because when they went off air, so what they would do is they would have a kickboxing fight and then an MMA fight. But after they went off air, they had them both. And at one time, they would have it at the same time, going on at the same time. So you'd see Cutman over here in this corner, and then he'd run over to the other ring, and he'd work on that guy. Yeah,
wow.
Dude, it was
What
hilarious.
a nightmare.
It was fun to watch, but you were like
Terrible.
back and forth, and it was fun. They had like 5 or 6 more fights after that.
They did the same thing in Rome, right? Didn't they do
I think so, yeah.
they had 2 things going on at the same time.
It was
Wow.
fun, dude.
And speaking of Rome,
Like speed dating.
have you heard of Bellator wants to do fights in the Roman Colosseum?
I like the sound of that just because
That would be
modern
epic.
day gladiator
I know.
style stuff. Yeah.
He said that about 18 months ago, and we had a follow-up with him about 3 months ago, and he said they still want to do it. They're still working on it. It's not as easy as it sounds, but he hasn't forgotten about it. So I'm into that, man. I'm into
How into
stadium
it, though?
shows and iconic venues, to what's that?
How into it?
I would oh man.
Are you so into it you'd wear a toga? Because I think
I'd
I
wear a
would.
toga for that.
I'd wear a
Yeah.
toga. If they said it's
Count
okay,
me
I would
in.
wear a
Yeah,
toga.
yeah.
I thought you were going to start Would You Go? I've turned down so many trips because I'm so focused on getting debt free that right now if they go it's happening before September, I probably couldn't go, and it sucks because I've been wanting to go to a UFC in Brazil and things like that. I have many regrets, but if they can just wait like maybe till the end of the year, then I think I'll have that budget to finally go to Chicago, finally go to Sacramento, not all of them, but a lot of these places that I've wanted to go to watch fights that I stopped traveling a lot in the last few years. But okay, if I do go toga, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you wear anything underneath?
Yeah, I'm a sweaty bastard, so I need something like my underwear and sometimes a T-shirt to soak it. I mean, I don't know, depending
Well,
on
I think no underwear would help with that. But then you have to worry, like, what if it's a windy day or something, right? Or, like, there's a lot of things to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Would you wear a toga?
I'd definitely wear a toga.
Right? I think
yeah,
that's the only way to roll.
I'd fully embrace all that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, we got to take a break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation, channel 156. Stay close. We'll be back. We have a good discussion going on here with Bellator.
George and Goes are some of the best chicks I know. Here we go with more verbal sparring. Take it away, ladies.
All right, so earlier we were talking about crossover fights between Bellator and the UFC. There's nothing official, folks, and more than likely this will never happen. It's just something the UFC has chosen not to do for the last 15 years. But they have done it. And Bellator does have experience in doing it, specifically Scott Coker, not just as the Bellator president, but as the Strikeforce president. So you know he'd be down. And if he's saying it, you know he's down. It's just highly unlikely, especially when you get into the whole, well, where would the fight take place? Is it going to be on DAZN where Bellator does business? Or is it going to be on ESPN Plus? Or are they going to do a one-on-one? I mean, you see how complicated it is to get Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, and Tyson Fury, because they all have different promoters, all linked to different networks and broadcast partners or whatever. And so imagine how it would be in MMA. You know, they'd have to shake hands and say, look, I'm sending my guy here, you send me yours here, and don't F me, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But if it happened, boy, would it be fun. I think we can all agree on that one.
Hell yeah.
So let's take it a bit further. We just talked about casual matchups. Let's talk a little bit about some of the ones that wear gold around their waist. Let's do our daily debate. Hit it, Andre.
The brothers Garcia seemingly can't agree on anything.
Everybody knows it's duck season.
Rabbit season.
Duck season.
Rabbit season.
Whether it's food,
Less filling.
Tastes great.
Less filling.
Tastes great.
gambling,
Always bet on black.
I like red.
Black.
Red.
Black.
Red.
Black, dummy.
or even social media,
Instagram.
Snapchat.
Instagram.
Snapchat.
the same applies to the biggest stories in MMA. Time for MMA Junkie Radio's Daily Debate.
Today's hashtag daily debate question for at MMA Junkie Radio. If the UFC and Bellator did crossover fights, which one would you want to see first? So now I'm going to give you the choices, guys. Holloway versus Frady. That's featherweight champions mixing it up. Shevchenko versus McFarlane. Those are flyweights, women flyweights mixing it up. Whitaker versus Mousasi, middleweights. Or other. But if you go other, I'd prefer champions, because that's kind of what we're focusing here. But if you have something golden, by all means, just say it. We'll start with Goes, and then we'll go with Vince.
They're all good choices, okay? But I'm going to end up going with Holloway and Pitbull. I know... Are one of you guys going to say Whitaker and Mousasi, first of all?
I was thinking about it.
All right, let me talk you out of it.
Don't play poker. You don't have a good poker face.
Let me talk you out of it. Because I was going to go that way, too.
Right.
Be a great fight, right?
I mean, they're all great, yeah.
But here's the thing. Mousasi's been in the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it wouldn't have that feel of a Bellator
But it adds
versus
the
UFC.
subplot. Hey,
Yeah.
you cut me. What's up now? You know what I mean?
It
so
does,
for him, it'd be
but-
a little personal, and maybe that would even... I mean, not that they all don't fight their asses off anyway, but you know that he wants to make a statement and glare at Dana White and
But
the
it feels-
matchmakers for cutting him or whatever, because... frankly, he should not have been released. That should not have happened. They should have paid that man his money. He's part of the world, Europe, specifically Holland, where combat sports have a rich history. He speaks English, and he's exciting. He didn't suck, man. He had a little bit of swag. He'd always cuss it up and F-bomb it, and he reached a point where the nice guy act was over. So I don't know, man. Are you sure about this one?
But it feels like it could have happened. It doesn't feel like Christmas. This is supposed to feel like Christmas, where you're opening up a present that you didn't know what was coming. Finally, it's here. That's why I'm going to go with Pitbull and Holloway, because you have a guy in Pitbull that's like a staple in Bellator, right? He's one of their faces.
Yeah.
And Max Holloway is one of the faces of the UFC. That, to me, feels like Bellator versus the UFC. The other one, yeah, because they're champs now, but I felt like maybe we could have seen that in the past. It doesn't have that type of feel for it.
All
so
right.
that's why I'm going to go with that.
UFC bantamweight Vince Morales.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you though. Just that little bit of extra like animosity towards the whole UFC from Mousasi. I think that'd be interesting to see how that plays out overall. And I'm a big fan of both those guys actually. Mostly Whitaker, but still, I would love to see how that one played out. That was my first fight that I was thinking about.
Yeah.
I do like the Shevchenko and McFarlane fight though.
Yeah, I do
really
too.
like that.
McFarlane's really built up her resume, because now she's not only won the title, she's got title defenses, and Shevchenko just had her first title defense. So that seems like a
I see where you guys are going. But
forces colliding there. McFarlane can brag about never having lost, period. Shevchenko can say, hey, look, I've been a valid bantamweight. Now I'm a successful flyweight. I was a world Muay Thai champion, so I'd like to see them chirp a little bit.
You guys are looking at it as fighter versus fighter. I'm looking at it as street cred between the two promotions, right? At the end of that fight, Whitaker and Mousasi, you're right, there is a storyline, but I think it's between the two fighters, like animosity, right? Mm-hmm. I want to see I want one promotion to hang their flag and go, what's up now? Okay? And I don't feel like if Mousasi wins that fight, I think he's going to have a Bellator flag, but he's just going to be like, yeah, but look, Mousasi, right?
Uh-huh.
I want it to be promotion against promotion. I want one of them to hang their head for 6 months until the next one happens or something.
How about Bader versus DC? Remember they didn't like each other at the UFC?
Yeah.
And now Bader's... Because I get what you're saying. Mousasi's, like his third fight in?
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't have, he's not homegrown like McFarlane and Pitbull. So I understand that point. Bader, though, has a few fights now. He's also a champ. He's the heavyweight champion. He's the light heavyweight champion. So he's got a little bit more, a little bit more history with Bellator. And there's a little bit of the angle where these guys were going to fight as the light heavyweights, but they happen to be heavyweight champions, so they could do it at either weight class, almost like a home and away series. Well, I guess DC's not the champion, but I still wouldn't mind seeing them at 205. Maybe Bader could defend his 205 versus DC. DC could defend his heavyweight versus Bader.
That's thinking. I just don't think the fight would be all that exciting.
No?
Yeah, I don't know. I like those type of matchups where it's like, oh man, I either don't know what's going to happen or it's just people that come to fight.
Yeah.
So
Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler.
That was a good one. When you said it,
good one.
My reaction was like, oh, he's dropping the mic. Oh, man. I guess if I had more time to think about it.
I think there's definitely a lot of good ones. I like to see Rory McDonald and Kamaru Usman. I think that'd be a great one, too.
How about Paul Daly against Mike Perry?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
So if I drop the mic, you have to host the show because the Goes is back.
Wait, no, I did like that.
All right.
That was fun.
All right. So this is how it panned out, guys. Most went with the low-hanging fruit of Robert Whitaker versus Gegard Mousasi. That had 56%. 21% said Holloway versus Frady. 13% said Shevchenko versus McFarlane. 8% went to other. Almost 1,000 votes came in.
No love for the ladies? Come on now.
Yeah, I guess they came in third. Here's a couple that came in via Twitter. At @McClay_Jordan says, how about Dylan Danis versus Ben Askren? Now, look, Dylan's only 1-0.
Fun.
But Ben Askren's like 20-0, right? So I get that more likely a commission wouldn't even accept that. Yeah. Except this fight's, we're more anxious to see what it would be on the ground, and they've been chirping at each other on Twitter.
Yeah, that's Battle of the Dweebs. I don't know about that
one. So that was a pretty good one. Another one came in from Jason Truman, at Jason Truman. He says, Page versus Stylebender.
Ooh,
so
had this not
Quinton
this
Rampage
last,
Jackson for those that.
Oh wait, is that what you're saying? I thought you meant. Yeah. Okay.
Michael Venom Page.
Man.
Oh, he might be thinking Michael Venom Page.
I was thinking
they're different weight classes though.
You're right.
170, 180.
Yeah, and so are Page, and now that I think about it, so are Page. That's probably who he meant.
But they could figure it out.
Yeah, I can figure that out.
I know what he's going at, like why he's trying to. He's style bending.
Yeah, there you go.
Here's another one: McDonald versus Usman.
Yeah, see, I like that.
McDonald Woodley had history because they fought actually at one point. Bellator could brag we had the #1 welterweight if they wanted to take that angle because McDonald had beaten
it's kind of gone now,
Tyron Woodley. But yeah, Woodley has dropped his belt. They say Silva versus Son in 3. Let me read a couple more, man. This is pretty interesting here. Well, I guess no. I spoke too soon. There's a DC versus Bader. And Horiguchi versus Cejudo for all the belts.
For all the belts. For all the
belts. If Horiguchi wins, he's got Bellator and Ryzen.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying him versus Cejudo for all the belts.
And his gold medal. Throw that in there, too.
And then there's Scott Coker versus Dana White. You know, a lot of people don't know this, but Scott Coker also was a kickboxer.
Mm-hmm.
And Dana White was a boxer. So these men are well past their athletic primes, but it wouldn't be like one executive mopping up another one. I think that one would be pretty interesting. That was a good one. All right, Fedor versus John. I think they're meaning John Jones. Fedor versus Francis Ngannou was another one. So that was a good one. We got a lot of replies. Thank you to Junkie Nation, the readers of the site, and the listeners of the show for chiming in. Let's take another break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation, channel 156. Stay close. We'll be right back. We got a little bit of audio cuts to play for you.
Excitement in your Vitamix. Add ice, and you get MMA Junkie Radio.
Tonight at 9 Eastern, it's Game 6 of the NBA Finals between the Toronto Raptors and the Golden State Warriors. The last game at Oracle Arena will either end in a Toronto championship celebration or the home team pushing to even the series at 7 games. The Warriors' call is on NBA Radio, Sirius 207 XM86, and the Raptors' call can be heard on Channel 167. The national feed is on ESPN Radio, which is Channel 80.
I was thinking about a Del Taco burrito. But here's where I think I need you guys to talk me out of it.
You mean for dinner?
It would mean that my last 3 meals were burritos. Because remember last night I had Chipotle.
Mm-hmm. That's not a burrito. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a burrito last night.
You didn't
And
have a
then this
bowl?
morning you got that breakfast burrito.
Mhm.
And so if I ate this, it would be 3 burritos in a row.
You can get a sushi burrito and complete the trifecta.
Yeah.
You ever had one?
Yeah, those are great.
Really?
Yeah, when I came here, actually, I tried my first one. It was really
At
good.
Mandalay Bay?
No, where was it?
Or when you came to Vegas?
Yeah, when I came to Vegas, sorry.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember where it
You don't
was.
remember where it was, though, huh?
I think it was just called sushi burrito.
On
Not-
Rainbow, I think it
on-
is.
No, there's one on Sahara that's a little further down, more Summerlin area.
Oh.
I think it's
There's
just
a lot
called
of good
sushi
restaurants over
burrito.
there.
You know what's a crime, now that I think about it?
You're going to tie in crime to sushi burritos?
No,
You're a
but you'll understand when I say this. Dana White Contender Series is going to start.
Oh.
You need to go every Tuesday. It's something
Oh, I
else.
plan to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fought on
Especially
that
if you're living
last
here,
year.
that's a must. And they used to have this little food truck, and it was the Fuku burger, right, guys?
Yeah.
And they had it was a Hawaiian-based type of burgers. Man, they were good.
Do you know that
And they
it's-
opened on
yeah.
Buffalo and Warm Springs, which we live in the Southwest. So it's really not that far. The crime is that we haven't gone, and they've been there for a good year. Oh, you've been going a lot?
I went a few times.
Man,
But
you can't holler at me
the-
and go, hey, you want me to bring you?
well, no, I would have, but I think there's usually a scenario where you're not around or something.
I
But
see.
the sushi burrito place that you're talking about, the most famous one, the guys that invented it, is right next door to that Fuku place.
Is that Ja burrito?
I think so.
I think that might be. I think I just saw something. I was
Yeah.
driving by or
They're
something.
right next to
first
each other.
sushi burrito.
Hmm.
What
Yeah.
part of Vegas do you live?
Spring Valley, over near. I'm off Flamingo and Cimarron.
Flamingo and Cimarron. Hold
Yep.
on a second. Flamingo. Oh, that's
DMV.
kind of where Frank Trigg used to live, right? A little bit more than us.
It's on the way.
We were
yeah.
on Flamingo and Rainbow, and Frank Trigg, who used to co-host with us years ago, he was Flamingo and like Cimarron.
It's right by the DMV.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of good restaurants in that area. All right. Listen, let's go back to Bellator a little bit. We got some cuts from Rory McDonald and from Heather Hardy. I want to do the Heather Hardy a little bit first because I think we've touched a little bit on Rory, those little fantasy breakdowns of Bellator versus UFC. But Heather Hardy, man, she's a former boxer who's now fighting in mixed martial arts. You guys know that she got some death threats after her last fight?
It was sad to hear.
Yeah, man, that's taking a little bit far. But let's hear this
Really?
audio cut. Hardy won on her getting death threats after her last fight.
I fought with Anna, and I knew from the beginning she was going to try to get me down on the ground. So I had a really amazing wrestling coach in Rob Constance who prepared me so well for it. And I felt like it was such a big personal gain. Like my bad jiu-jitsu was better than her bad jiu-jitsu, but all the fans hated it. Like they were sending me death threats. And it was then that I realized that before I'm an athlete, I'm a performer. I'm an entertainer. And if I'm not entertaining, then that doesn't matter. So my personal goals don't really make a difference. I got to go in there and beat the shit out of this girl, and I don't really care how it looks because I got to give the fans what they want to see.
Do you guys agree with that?
No.
That she's an entertainer before an athlete?
No, I don't think it should be that way.
I don't agree with that either.
If you're
Neither
in
do
a
I.
world where you want to find out who the best fighter in the world is, then you can't pull entertainment into it. Because then you're asking them to fight a certain way that may not be showing the best them that night for
Right.
your entertainment.
Right, because Anna was also a former boxing champion. And not to say that she couldn't the one boxer couldn't outbox the other boxer, but if one of them had the ability to take the fight into a certain area, then I don't think there's anything wrong. I remember that fight, and it was pretty boring. But come on, a death threat?
Yeah, that's
Come on,
ridiculous.
fans, what's going on here? And my question to her, I guess, I'd follow up by going, for real? I think I'd just, like a little kid, for real? You got like a death threat? Or is it just one jackass on Twitter that might have said something like, how serious was this? Did you have to call the authorities or what? You know, I don't know. This is so like such a spectacular.
People are just stupid
I
on
hate
social
hearing
media.
stuff like
Have
that.
you ever
It drives
gotten
me
threats
crazy.
like that for
Nah,
any
nothing
reason?
like that. I've gotten a lot of love on social media,
Yeah?
actually. Yeah. So I'm sure my day's coming, but no, we're too.
What
worried
do
about it.
most people fist bump you for and cheer you for?
Really everything. Like, oh, it was great seeing you out there. Like, a lot of my hometown. I'm from Ontario, Oregon. So it's a little city in Oregon. I get a lot of messages just from those guys about
Nice.
you're giving me a little extra motivation, like, which is kind of what it's all about for
Right.
us over there. So, great performance. I really like this. I really like this. I haven't really got many. I get a little criticism, but that's kind of expected. But I haven't gotten hate.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing like hate yet.
I would just tell Heather Hardy, look, win. If you win, you know,
kind of takes away all that.
I understand. Like, I guess if you win and dominate, I don't like it when fighters take their foot off the gas a little bit too much. If you're dominating, then go for the finish. You know what I mean? Or when you run, there's a few things that I guess don't sit too well with me. Mm-hmm. But if you're a wrestler and you get somebody down, and maybe you're just not like getting into commanding positions, dominant positions early on in your career, okay, I get it. Not everyone's just a jiu-jitsu whiz. You have to be really, really careful. But you can ground and pound. You know, it's all in your activity, I think. It's the ones that like get the takedown and just hold on for dear life, or they don't want to pass their guard, or counter strikers that maybe just don't throw because they're waiting on the other person, and then next thing you know, it gets in their head and no one's pulling the trigger. Like, at some point, I get it. You're wearing 4-ounce gloves. It's dangerous. But what are you going to do? Stand there next to the referee and hope that he raises your hand, you know, and just give away half of your paycheck. You don't put yourself into consideration for bonuses. Unfortunately, it does work where the matchmaker may go, guess where you're headed to Macau. You know, you're on the prelims versus maybe headlining in your hometown. You know, so there is a little bit of that game you have to play, but still, I just think you have to fight.
Yeah, the intent's important, I think. Yeah.
Here's what I would tell her. Failure sucks. But there's nothing that sucks more than when you fail on someone else's terms. Have you guys ever gambled? George, I know you've gambled before.
Yeah.
Let's say tonight, all right? You wanted to bet Golden State. You go, you know what? I know Golden State's going to win, but somebody talks you out of it. Mm-hmm. And it ends up being the wrong call. What's that feeling, that look on your face?
Why did I listen to that?
Why did I listen to that idiot? I should have gone with my gut. I should have done it my way. That sucks to lose that way. So if she's going to turn her game around and fight somebody else's game, why? It's your game. Fight your way. Right. And if you lose, you have nobody to blame but yourself. Yeah. But that feeling you're going to have if you fought a fight a way somebody else wanted you that you weren't comfortable with, that's going to suck, dude.
Yeah. She continues here on the same topic about giving fans what they want to see. Audio cut 2, please.
You got legitimate death threats?
People, MMA fans, were like I was crying the next day. I had to put my social media down. I got better feedback from when that girl broke my face than I did with the boring jiu-jitsu fight. Like, I insulted the masses.
Why do you think that is?
Because it's not what they wanted to see, you know? As soon as one ticket is sold to a sporting event, it's not a sporting event anymore, it's a business. So you have to run this like a business. And for everyone who was saying to me, like, you didn't get hurt, you did so good, we were so proud of you. Those guys are the ones who paid the bills, you know? So I got to keep them wanting to see me. I'm fortunate that I have the chance to come back, and I got to remind all these fans why they love me.
Can a sporting event be business? Like, why is the minute one ticket sold, it's no longer a sporting event? It's business. Like, I like the girl, but I'm really, really on opposite ends here. Are you going to tell me the Super Bowl is not a sporting event? Yeah, I mean, that they decide the best team in the world, or the World Cup, or we're about to watch the NBA final. Those are sporting events. You know, I get that it's a business because you have to pay these athletes, and there's television contracts, and you know, there's seats to fill. I get all that. But I think she's programmed a little bit different here.
Maybe because it's a one-on-one sport, right? In the Super Bowl, it's a team, and you know that team's going to be there next year. They're just going to have different players. Mm-hmm. But everything she does reflects on her, right? So
but remember, that's why she feels that way. I don't think a fighter in any league can get cut if you're 20-0 or 22-0. Like, if you just never lose and you're the most boring. Remember, GSP was actually kind of boring? We all say great things about him now. Look, he had some spectacular finishes. I remember when he knocked out Matt Hughes. You know what I mean? It's not like he never did that, or he mauled Matt Serra, for example.
John Fitch when he mauled him.
Right. Yeah. But most of his work was 50-44, 50-45, 50-45, and still, you know what I mean? And I remember a lot of times we'd be sitting there going, why did we get this? We kind of knew he was going to win. We kind of knew what he was going to do. But when you took a step back and your buzz wore off, you did go, holy cow, he just fucked up John Fitch for 5 rounds, or Thiago Alves, or Josh Koscheck, or Nick Diaz, or Carlos Condit. You were like, wow, like, I mean, that's impressive. Mm-hmm. It's just at that moment in time when you're feeding for the KO or the submission or something spectacular, you weren't getting it from what became almost everyone's favorite athlete, or at least if he wasn't your favorite, he was always like in your top 5 or top 10, you know. And nobody ever said, I hate that guy.
For sure. And
Yeah.
I think as fighters, we
But he
have a
won.
little bit different view on it because sometimes when we're watching the fight, we're watching a lot of the artistry in there.
Mhm.
Like how well they're controlling range. Sometimes it's like nothing's going on, but both people are controlling range really good. Like
Right.
for some of us, like even that's kind of exciting. How are they managing to do that?
Mhm.
They're both doing that. Why can't they figure out da-da-da? So it's like if you can dig more into the puzzle, and like I think if fans can do the same thing, then it'll start changing some of the way that it's perceived.
That's one of the most intelligent things I've ever heard a fighter say.
Oh, don't tell me that.
Well, a lot of fighters just like fans are stupid, but they don't back it up with what you just said. You know what I mean? Like keeping an eye on some of the more subtle things that fans or media may not catch because
there's a lot going on. In there.
I know, like footwork. I like watching the psychology of just a face-off during fight week.
Oh, that's my favorite.
You know what I mean?
Love face-offs and weigh-ins.
Certain little things, the weigh-ins. Maybe catching them a little bit on social media, their walkout, the way they vibe with the crowd, things like that. All right, we'll continue here with Vince Morales in studio. We're going to talk a little bit more about what he's got going on. He's coming off a win this past May, and so we'll see what might be next for him, when he might fight, who he might fight, all that stuff. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation, channel 156. Don't touch that dial.
Their mantles are covered with participation awards. They have boxes of gold stars that they purchase themselves. They are the legends and demand your respect. Here are George and Goes.
Our in-studio co-host is Vince Morales. Follow him on Twitter at Vendetta135. He's coming off a win over Alman Zahabi at UFC on ESPN +9. This fight took place on May 4th of this year, so that was about a month ago.
A little over.
A little late. Congrats on that one, but
Appreciate
still,
that. Thank you.
a win's a win, man. This is the highest level of mixed martial arts. So, wanted to ask you, how are you feeling health-wise, and when do you think you'll get your next assignment? And are you ready for it?
Yeah, I'm trying to get right back in there immediately. I feel great. I'm already back to fight life. We don't really do fight camps. We're always in fight camp. We're always in shape. We're always trying to learn new things, get better, and then sharpen those tools. So.
And where are you based here in Vegas? Are you a UFC PI guy, Syndicate Vegas, or Extreme? What do you do?
UFC PI for now, and we make little trips over to Extreme. Those guys welcome us in, so it's real nice of them. My head coach is actually Tony Frickland. Yep. Okay. That's my head coach. He's actually in the middle of starting his own gym out here. It's in the build out process.
Yeah.
It's gonna be Ultimate Performance Athletics. It's gonna be over on Sahara in Buffalo City Athletic Club. It's gonna be great. Coach Tony's the man. I mean, literally every training session we've ever had, I've always learned something new, and it's been solid. Like I think we're going on 4 years now working together, and super grateful. And I know he's excited to be able to share that with more people. So I can't wait for this gym to get up and running.
You want to hear a fun fact about your coach?
Always.
He's the reason Tito Ortiz got knocked out in London about 15 years ago.
See,
you know that story?
I think I've heard this story a few different times from different angles.
So here's what happened. Well, I wasn't there, but enough people have told me. I'm sure Tony could corroborate this. Him and Matt Hughes are good friends, and I guess he jumps on Matt Hughes' back, right?
Sounds familiar.
And
talking about Lee Murray's story, right?
Right. Yeah. And I guess it just looks like they're goofing off, and some of Lee Murray's friends can't tell because I guess it's dark and everyone's just going to party afterwards. And so somehow people are told to stop goofing off, or there's a mix-up as to whether that's a fight or not. And so scuffles kind of break out. And I'm giving you the fastest version.
Gotcha.
In the end, Tito and a guy named Lee Murray, you ever hear of that guy?
Yep.
They kind of square off. And look, in MMA, I'm pretty sure Tito would have done well. You know,
Lee Murray's a little dude, isn't he?
Lee Murray's a middleweight.
Right. Okay.
And the reason he was there is because he used to travel from London to train with those guys at Miletich. So Pat Miletich was there, Matt Hughes and all that. And that's why he was in that vicinity. But Lee Murray was also one of those guys that you just don't mess with. Like, I mean, it's on. Like, who are you looking at? I mean, it's on right there. There's not too much to discuss. And I'm sure Tito didn't have, I'm sure he said whatever because at the time he was the man. Him and Chop, they were the man. And but when they squared off, Lee was a striker, street savvy striker, and Tito was a wrestler. And so on the street there was no time to get the takedown. You know what I mean? So he got lit up. That was the story, was that he got lit up. Tito, of course, says he slipped. He had dress shoes on because he was I guess he didn't fight that night, right? He was a guest fighter. Apparently Chuck Liddell had lit up a few people. So just a bunch of stuff broke out. But that's kind of how.
Coach Tony's told me that story. It's wild. Yeah, he just took it's so
but
crazy.
all from like a piggyback ride that was misinterpreted or something like that.
That sounds familiar. Crazy.
Man, we should get Tony to come in here and just
I'm sure he'd
tell
love
it
to.
one last time. I'm sure he's told it 1,000 times, but we'd love to hear one more.
But it changes. Like, everybody that tells it has not like a different version, but they add a little wrinkle to it.
I've heard Ryan Bennett, rest in peace.
Jeff Sherwood.
Have you heard Jeff Sherwood's version?
I've heard him tell that story.
Okay, and I've heard Pat Miletich's version of people that were there, but they all kind of end with the same, the same stuff.
I'm sure Coach would love to talk about that.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Let him know.
Who do you want to fight next? Is there a name?
I really don't care as long as I'm right back in there soon. I mean, in my mind, as like the fighters we are, like we're always looking at the top guys. So that whole last card with the I know there's for sure 3. There might have been 4 bantamweight fights on that card. I was looking at all those guys, trying to figure out which one of them would be next. But I know they're higher up in the rankings. I got to prove my worth and do my thing, yada yada. Really, anybody in front of me, I'm ready for it.
When you look at the top of the bantamweight division, I mean, I know you're a fighter, you got your bravado, but when you first come into the UFC, some fighters have told us, I got something for the champ. We could do it today. And then some say, look, I just know I'm not there yet, but I'm building to it. Who are you? Where do you kind of feel you are?
Somewhere right in between both of them.
In between both of them?
Yeah, I feel like to the fans and stuff, I know I gotta prove it. I know I gotta get my what would you call that?
Street cred?
I guess street cred. Yeah, we can
Or
do that. I got my
UFC
UFC cred. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So Vince is 9-3 overall.
Yeah.
But you're 1-1 in the UFC, and so that's why I guess you're not really feeling like you're in a position
to be calling the shots or try to like call people out. Yeah. Pretty much. I know I want to prove my worth. I know once I am up there, I'm gonna be a handful for a lot of these guys. So.
Well, who were some of the names that were on that card that you thought maybe might make sense? Just because at least timeline, you guys are on the same timeline. Do you remember?
I think all those guys were in the top like 10 or 12, weren't they? Maybe give me 2 more fights and I'll be up there with any of them.
Is there anywhere in particular you'd like to fight? Oh, there's a lot of cities that are popping up, like San Antonio, Sacramento, Montevideo, Uruguay.
I'd like to get on the Sacramento card.
Yeah?
Yeah, with Ricky Simone and Faber on there. I mean, I'd love to be on that card.
Ricky Simone is really your cousin?
That's really my cousin, yeah.
Oh, okay,
mullet and
cool.
everything.
Have you ever thought about when you tell people that and they go, really? Go on Simone? As a joke?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah, I burnt myself out of it.
Yeah, okay. He's probably done it 1,000 times. Like, dude, you're like 20 years behind. All right, we're coming up on the top of the hour break. Don't forget, we're also going to be talking to Mike Perry and Eric Albarracin. But when we come back, we'll tell you a little bit about some of the latest fight bookings, and I'll keep pressing Vince here to see if maybe we kind of know what card. He's talking about Sacramento, and it doesn't seem like it's too soon for him, but, it is on July 13th. So you'd be ready, huh?
Oh,
All
yeah.
right, so we'll maybe dive into some of these other
I'm ready for next week.
people in your weight class and see if we can figure out a name just to have a little bit of fun. All right, folks, we'll be right back. Don't touch that dial. We'll be back in 60 seconds. That's it?
I don't know, but I could see you having a problem with this.
Good, you're still here. The boys were just getting warmed up. Now the real show begins. Take it away, boys.
All right, we're back. Start the second hour here, and the NBA Finals will be going off here in just a sec as well. So you'll hear some cheering. The Toronto Raptors are up 3-2. They're heading back to Oracle Arena in Oakland, California. And this will be the last game in Oracle Arena. The reason is because they're moving across the bay to San Francisco. Actually, they're originally from San Francisco. Actually, they're originally from Philadelphia, and they came over and became the San Francisco Warriors. And they became the Golden State Warriors, but they also moved to Oakland, something like that. And but that's where Will Chamberlain started off, if I'm not mistaken.
So
they're going back to the other side of the bay, and they're going to do this game without Kevin Durant because he tore his Achilles heel in trying to come back in Game 5. So he's actually going to be out probably for a whole year. That's a tough injury to come back from. But they're still have a formidable team, and pretty much most of the key core players that won a title without Kevin Durant. Excuse me. Go ahead.
We still Scott Coker a bet, right?
There's
What does
something
that have
in
to do
there.
with? I know that he
He
gets to
said-
tweet whatever he wants from our account.
Oh, that one,
But-
yeah. But do you remember when he invited us
Yeah.
to a Warriors game? We need to cash in on that. It's just that our team's the Lakers, and they suck so bad that we haven't wanted to. What's the point of going up there and getting blown up by 30? You know what I mean?
Right.
We're waiting for the Lakers to get good so we can go to watch a competitive game. Are you a Blazers fan, or who do you like? Oh, no. We established you don't like basketball.
Man,
At all? Te vale
ever?
madres?
No,
I mean, like, you don't
I
like
might be
nothing?
like super salty about it just because I was on like the C team in middle school. So I was like, maybe basketball's not for me. So
Not even the Blazers, huh?
that's one of my roommates, one of my old roommates' teams. So I guess I can go with them by affiliation.
That'll work. All right, so you may hear some cheering from here, from time to time, and we'll give you some updates on the game. All right, Vince Morales. Let's see here. You're 1-1 in the UFC, so I'm going to point out some of the other fighters that are 1-1. It's not that big of a list here, and you tell me if some of them might make sense. Actually, a few of them are already booked. There's Andre Ewell, there's Chris Gutierrez, there's Benito Lopez, Jonathan Martinez, and they all seem to have fights booked. So is Khalid Taha. What? Why are they all booked and not you? Piss off the matchmaker? What? There's like 6 of them and they all have bookings. In fact, 2 of them are fighting in Sacramento. Jonathan Martinez is fighting Pingwan Liu, and Martin Day is fighting Benito Lopez. There's a fighter named Casey Kenny, who's 1-0. So's Cole Smith.
Cole's a good dude. I met Cole at the PI.
Okay. And then, Brad Katona's 2-1. He's not that further ahead.
That'd be a good fight.
Montel Jackson, they're not booked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any of those. Katona would be a good one. I think that'd be a fun fight.
Katona?
Yeah, Katona would be a fun one.
Vince Morales versus Brad Katona, UFC Sacramento. If that happens, our street cred with you goes up, right?
Oh, it goes up a lot, yeah.
All right.
If you can manage that
we'll
in
see if
4
we can
weeks,
put that out there in the atmosphere.
Sure.
And you'd be ready. You'd be ready for July 13th.
Yeah, I'm like, I can make weight next week.
I was going to ask, this may be the dumbest question you'll ever get. All right, but
Cool.
it's kind of the reverse of what he's saying. You know, he said you could fight right now. You could fight tomorrow if you wanted to. Let's just say something happened at Dana White's Contender Series where a 135er fell off. And they go, hey, man, we heard you're ready. Can you just step in and take this fight? It's a paycheck.
For a contender one?
It's kind of a step down, obviously, but it's still a paycheck. And you said you're ready to go. Would you ever do that? Would you even entertain it?
The only way I'd ever entertain it is if it didn't count as a fight on my UFC contract.
They say it's going to count.
Oh,
But they'll pay you a little bit more than what you're used to.
If they pay me more than what my next contracted fight should be, then yeah, I'd probably do that.
You would do it?
Yeah. Well, that's just me. I'm like kind of little, what's the word I'm looking for? Antsy. I jump on opportunities. I'm big on opportunities. So if they arise, I jump on it.
That works. All right. Doesn't it look like Vince Morales could play a young Benny Blanco from the Bronx? Did you ever see the movie Carlito's Way?
Al Pacino?
Yeah.
I think I have seen that, but it's been so
John
long.
Leguizamo plays Benny Blanco from the Bronx, but you kind of have a little bit of that look.
That's the guy who was
He winds up betraying Al Pacino in the end.
vaguely
I just
remember
gave the
that, man.
movie
It's
away to
been so-
anyone that
yeah.
hasn't seen it, but
spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Man, I can't think of it. It's been so long. I think I know what you're talking about.
All
I'm
right.
there. I can't fully picture it.
Yeah. All right, here's another thing we like to do with our in-studio guests. We do have Mike Perry coming up here in about 10 minutes, as well as Eric Albarracin, the head coach for Henry Cejudo and Pitbull Frady over at Bellator. So, Vince, can you share a good street fight story with us?
I can't share one that I've won.
Why'd you kill somebody?
No.
Put them in a coma?
Unfortunately, well, I'm 0-1 in the streets. Well, I guess that one doesn't count. Disqualification. But so
you're 0-1 in the streets?
I've only ever had the one. I was like a sophomore in high school, and
somebody took it to you, huh?
Somebody and his buddies and a few bats took it to me.
God damn!
Yeah.
Really?
Well, the little ones, like that wasn't
Like
a big
you-
one, but like
little bats.
Yeah,
foam bats or
I
wiffle
wasn't
ball?
really looking directly at him. I was trying to avoid him, so I don't remember, and it was a long time ago. But I can't remember what started it all.
Tell us that one. Even though you went 0-1, can you mind, or is it like bad memories?
No, it's fine. It's probably bad memories.
Do you
for
think it's like
my dad? He wasn't too happy.
AAA?
No, I know. I know what he's talking
them?
about. I know what he's talking about. When you used to go to an Angel game,
Mhm.
there was like I don't know if it was
mini
Bat
bats?
Day, but they were
Bat
like
Day,
mini
yeah.
bats. Yeah,
like
is that what
mini
you're talking
bats.
about?
Yeah.
Okay. Why would they take that?
I can't remember what started. I think it must have been like some type of little game
Oh,
thing.
look. Here,
Is that?
what do you think?
Is that you?
I mean, I'm not saying you're his identical twin,
Oh, I'll
but you
take
see
it.
there's a little bit of a look.
Yeah, as long as I don't have to rock that mustache, I'm in.
Yeah. Okay. So what happened in this fight?
So I can't remember what started it all.
Well, this was high school, you said,
This
right?
was high school. I was like a sophomore. I got into a little scuffle at school, and against this big dude. I was a little guy in high school. I wrestled at 125 as a senior, so I was tiny.
So you just walk in the
Didn't cut
halls,
weight.
you guys exchanged looks, or
I
what?
can't remember what started it. We shoved each other. Something happened. And I'd never been in a fight, so I was like, don't really know what's going on. I
Right.
kind of tried to puff up and be like, no, don't talk to me like that, whatever. Then he's like, oh, well, meet me at the park. So we went to the park, me and like 3 of my friends,
Okay.
and we see a group of these guys, like 12 of these guys, kind of circled around this little area. And I still had my backpack, and I was walking over there. I'm like, oh man, this is not going to end well. And I'd been
Did
wrestling.
you have somebody in your crew going one-on-one, no jumping in? Or,
So he wasn't
or
really
did you
part of the
feel
crew.
like-
I think he was kind of just somebody walking by that goes to school. He's like, hey, whoa, but that
Right.
didn't start him for a bit.
Okay.
So anyways, these guys started jumping one of my buddies over there, and I was like, oh, well, I guess here we go. So I took off my backpack, and
2 of my buddies started. Okay, yeah.
and so I took off my backpack, and my threat was, hey. That's about it. And then I started walking towards him, and yeah, I don't know. And I remember one of the big guys was just like, what's up? And I'd been wrestling for 1 year. I still hadn't even won a match yet. I was 0-12 as a freshman. I still hadn't won a wrestling match. And
how big was he, by the way? You were 125. What was he?
He was big. He was like, I don't know, probably 5'10", like at least 200 pounds.
Okay.
In my mind, watch him be smaller. I don't know.
Yeah,
But, he just threw this wild swinging punch at me, and I just ducked under, took him down. And you ever have those dreams where you're trying to punch something and it's not working?
Uh-huh.
It's just real light. So I had the real life version of that. I was trying to punch him and just wasn't working. And I was like, oh, well, that's not doing anything. And then somebody had kicked me, and 3 guys jumped on me, and there were bats and kicks and all that for like 20
But none
seconds.
of them had a real bat. It was just the mini
No, it was just those mini bats, yeah. My face wasn't looking very pretty afterwards. But somebody split it up, and then my friends had, like, one of them had taken off. So I tried to follow suit, and we were coming down the alley. They tried to do it again, and the big dude ran at me again. And the only thing I could think of was lean away and trip him. So I threw him into this pack of stickers, those little go heads.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I called it a victory, but my face said otherwise.
Right.
And then took off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lots
That
to
sucks.
unpack here. Hold on a second. So what happened with the stickers? What did he look like? You didn't stick around
Don't
to
know.
see?
No,
Okay.
didn't stick around at all. I know the next day, though, one of my cousins, from one of my step cousins, actually, from my step family, wasn't too happy about it and ended up beating up that guy at school and got kicked out of school. So shout out to him. Thank you.
Wow.
Ricky Simone in all this?
Yeah.
Over in Portland, probably
Ah.
hanging out with some girl or something.
Shaving
Not
his
helping at
mullet.
all. Yeah. No, growing a mullet. Yeah.
And your friends bailed though, huh? Were you pissed, or did you understand their
I understood. There was
situation, the
there was
bats and
quite
all
a
that?
few of them, and it was like,
What about when you guys were 4 of you and there was 13 of them? Did nobody said, "Hey, this doesn't look good. Let's just
I
live to fight another day"?
Sophomores in high school were like,
I know,
we're
but
trying
the
to
bat- but-
live in an action movie. I didn't
but
even
the
see
bats-
those. I didn't
oh, I
even see
see.
those until I started getting hit with it.
Yeah, and plus you guys probably thought it was going to be really one-on-one.
Yeah, and everybody was just kind of watching, yada yada, it's high school stuff. But yeah, I did punch a dude in the nose getting off the bus one time.
What happened
Only
there?
other time. He grabbed my back. He's just being a bully.
This was high school again?
Yeah, or getting on the bus is what happened. This was in high school. Yeah.
All right, so you're getting on the bus, and then what happened?
He was like pulling my backpack or something, just trying to be a bully or something.
Right.
I was apparently having a rough day. I was like, get off me, crack, bloody nose, everything went, and then I got on the bus and went home, and got suspended.
Oh, this is just as you're stepping on.
Yeah, this is as I was stepping on. Yeah,
Oh,
so
wow.
I got on the bus and
And what was it
Get
like the
home.
next day? Hey, respect? Was the guy cool finally?
parents got called in. So yeah, I don't remember ever seeing. Still don't know who it was.
Oh, really?
No clue. Yeah.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
You just reacted, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
You can't get away with saying he pulled your backpack, and when you were falling, you turned around to grab something, and you ended up hitting him?
Don't remember at all.
No.
I
Did
don't
you
have the
get
best
suspended?
memory. Yeah. I still can't think of who it was though.
Huh.
I don't know.
So you're
Good
1-1 then. Although the other one, I don't know if
Yeah,
I'd count it
1-1. Yeah,
because
see,
he got gang
disqualification,
jumped.
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't count.
And they were like soccer kicks.
No
like,
contest.
Yeah, and
it must have been a shoot box affiliate.
And weight classes were all over the place, so it's like.
That's awesome. That was a good one. All right, folks, we're going to take an early break here in the second hour. When we come back, we'll be talking to UFC welterweight Mike Perry. So stay close. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
We are the nation of domination.
Fight Nation.
All right, folks, remember the NBA Finals have tipped off. Quick early score, Toronto 11, Golden State 4. They're only 3 minutes into the first period. And remember, Kevin Durant will not be playing for the rest of this series. So Golden State, a little bit of a disadvantage there. But still, like I said before, they've won a title without him. All right, joining us now, buckle up, folks. This guy's intense, not only when we interview him, but also in the octagon. One of the baddest mofos out there. He's coming off a win over Alex Oliveira about 6 weeks ago in his home state of Florida. And he's joining us now on the hotline. Platinum Mike Perry. What's up, Mike? Welcome back to MMA Junkie Radio.
Yo, what up, man? Good to be here, bro. How you guys doing?
Oh, man. We're doing great. Thank you. I'm George. My co-host is Goes. And we also have UFC bantamweight Vince Morales here with you. But I love having you on the show because you always speak your mind, and more than anything, I just love your swag in the octagon. You're just one of them old school fighters. You know what I mean? I've watched all the way since UFC 1, and so I remember what some of those guys were like. Yeah, I think you have a little bit of their DNA.
I appreciate that, man. I just try to be a real fighter. I think that's what it is. It's the real ones in the sport who are willing to tuck their chin and and throw, but I'm also getting smarter these days.
Right.
I'm getting better, technical as hell, you know. So I'm looking to fight anybody. There's a lot of fights being talked about, my name being thrown in, or it's every guy's trying to throw their name in the hat against me these days. So
right,
I'm the fight to get, and I'm becoming somewhat of a money fight.
There you go. You know, and you're not in any way out of line. I wanted to ask you, if you were a pie, what percentage of you is an athlete? What percentage of you is a martial artist? And what percentage of you is a fighter? Like, what are you more of?
Oh, man. Shit, I'm 300%. I'm 3 pies. 3 pies, you got 3 slices. You're going to have to catch a 3-piece of pie and some Cool Whip on the side. It's kind of like it's Jorge's 3-piece and a soda.
Right.
I'm like cherry pie, blueberry pie, and you know,
apple pie. Humble pie. Humble pie with Cool Whip. I love that.
Sure, I'll pass out the humble pie. So I got my cake, and I'm eating that bitch, too.
Well, where I was headed was I felt like you were maybe like 80 fighter, 10 martial artist, and 10 athlete. But I've watched you do the physical, you know, strength and conditioning, and that's coming along. And then you've developed, you know, some really nice elbows, and you know, like your martial art game is starting to come around. And like you said, hey, I'm trying to be smart. I'm not just gonna sit there and take 2 to hand out 1 either. But I feel like the pie is starting to like level out a little bit. You know what I mean? Because of the skills you've acquired and the athlete you are.
Sure, bro. I'll take that as a compliment. You know, and tonight my coach was telling me at the gym. I just got home from training. And he's like, bro, in all the years I've been training with you, I've never seen you train this hard, this often, this consistent, like every day for the past, like, since the fight with Oliveira pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
I've just been in the gym drilling. I'm ground and pounding the bag on the ground nowadays. Like, I'm going to Khabib guys. I'm going to wrap them up, tie them up like a pretzel, and then boxing punches that I land standing up from striking distance is I'm going to land on the ground and break people's faces with those too. So I'm ready to go get that title, bro. Whoever won it, don't want to flaunt it because I'm going to put the mark all over their face. Everybody going to know what happened when you fought Mike Perry. Your face going to be hideous.
Well, what I feel like is you now have like about 10 fights, you know, in your career. You've matured, you know, you're getting into your physical prime. But more than anything, you know, those 3 bonuses that you've gotten, plus the salary that you've gotten, I'm sure now you're able to kind of like invest more in Platinum Mike Perry. I know that grind is tough through like 5 or 6 fights, but then I see fighters kind of kick it up a little bit because now that like I say, the resources, you know what I mean? So can you talk about that? Like, do you spend a lot on your coaching, you know, the strength and conditioning and everything? And like, do you reinvest a lot into your fight camps?
I mean, I have over the years, right? I have over time. And by now, I've seen things from all over the world, from all different perspectives that could be the best perspectives in the world by some people, you know what I mean? So I take that and I put that together because at the end of the day, it's my martial art. It's platinum martial arts that I've always had the dream to be great.
Mm-hmm.
So it's my mind. I take the knowledge as I see fit. Throw another Bruce Lee quote is like, you know, take what is useful, discard what is not, add what is uniquely your own.
Right. Okay. I like that. How do you split up where you train? I know you've done training in Albuquerque, and I know you've done training in your home state of Florida. How do you split it up, and do you do other types of gym hopping?
You know what? These days, man, I just been on a roll with the people that I started with, and Albuquerque was like the first time I really ever went anywhere else to go see a perspective from what John Jones is doing because he was the best ever. So I went to check that out. I learned, thankful for the knowledge I was given. I learned another lesson when Cowboy got my arm. So, and you know, a big part of that lesson is that I do jiu-jitsu over here with my boys and my team here in Florida consistently so often. And I like the way my coach has always showed me, my boy Julian Williams.
Uh-huh.
And we work, and I'm way stronger than ever right now. I'm just in the zone right now. I constantly train. I show up. I'm not complaining about nothing. I'm not hurt about nothing. I'm staying relaxed but exploding at right times, and it's a mindset, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's just a place where your mind is in alpha mode, and it's like you can see everything, and you just use it to your advantage.
Now, I saw the call out of Cerrone. Obviously you want to get that one back, but at the same time, is that more just because you want to stay busy, or is that really something that's chomping at the bit for you to fight Cowboy again?
It's not chomping at the bit. Listen, I'm not trying to be a sore loser over here, and I'm not going to beg for a rematch, but I think I'm a capable athlete, and I think he got one over on me where in the right mindset that I feel these days I can beat that guy, and I feel I could have earned that ability or responsibility, to get that opportunity to go in the cage and octagon and fight him again. And he would have to see a different Mike Perry. And it's Cowboy Cerrone. He's always up to go again to cash another paycheck.
Right.
And that doesn't mean, listen, his mindset, it's such a game of mindsets where you can play the game on rematches like that, because I was finding myself when he fought me the first time. I feel that I have found myself now, so that if he feels I'm too old and tired to continue to try to get a title win streak going and win for a title, then after instead of giving up after all this time, then he could give me another shot. And if he beats me again, I believe that would boost him to the people, especially because he would have to come back up in size. Maybe he should try to win a title at 170 if he could come back up here and try to fight me, because I'm going to go on a run for the title. I could fight 3 Cowboys in a row, and he would be the first and the last, and we'll see if he would want to fight me a third time after I beat him the second time. That's just real. I want to get that rematch back. That's the only MMA fighter who has ever stopped me. I may have lost decisions, but no one has ever done anything to me. And they were always afraid and running away and ducking and covering. So, it's nothing, bro. You want to fight? Anybody want to fight? Let's go. I'd fight somebody like Leon Edwards, who is a very boring and dangerous fight at the same time, because he doesn't take risks and he's long. He's got the reach. But I'm ready to fight all of their styles, because I know what their game plan is at the end of the day. It doesn't matter.
I like it, man. Platinum Mike Perry on the hotline here. I would love to see Leon Edwards. I'm hearing a rumor that Edwards versus Rafael Dos Anjos might be the headline bout in Sacramento or San Antonio or something. But if not, sign me up for that. And Mike said something interesting at the beginning about being a money fighter, You drop his name against any of these names that we've mentioned, you right away get pumped up, because he's, like I say, in these 10 fights, he's accomplished a lot. And one of those is the fact that you get excited when you find out that he's on a card. So whether it's running it back versus Cerrone, Leon Edwards, or whatever, right away you get goosebumps, you get excited. So you got to give that man his respect for that. A lot of fighters take a long time to connect with fans, that way. And Mike's been able to do it a lot earlier than others. All right, Goes, what do you have from Platinum Mike Perry?
Man, I'm mad that you brought up Pies, because I kind of want to bring up Pies again.
Okay.
But in regards to the title, the belt, because I've heard you bring up the belt twice now, and I was curious, when it comes to you, how important is the belt compared to, say, matchups and money? We've seen other fighters sometimes make a little bit more money, but not really talk about the belt very much. Where do you lie in all that?
That's a tough question for a lot of reasons. A lot of people would say because there's guys with good win streaks. But the way I see my 10 fights in the UFC is, I got armbarred once, and then I had some great fights. You know what I mean? So I think that if I put a couple wins together, that could line me up, especially if they're explosive wins, that could line me up for a title shot, potentially on who the opponents are as well. And yes, a title shot is important to me. It's more important to me these days, but I feel like okay, when you say that the right fights get you to the title, but sometimes in my position right now, I think I could just beat anyone almost in an explosive fight, make the crowd cheer and hype them up, gain some more followers and supporters to follow me along the path, and then if I knock out just anyone, maybe somebody will call me out who's up there, and they'll have to recognize my ability, that I'm a threat.
Mm-hmm. Mike, you brought up mindset and how important it is to be in the right frame of mind. Now that you're there, could you look back at a previous fight and match up the Mike Perry physically, where you felt the best physically? If you could match that up with your mindset today, which would be the strongest Mike Perry? Was there a matchup that you remember where you felt the best?
Yeah, the last one. And the next one I'll feel even better. That's just going to be that way. It's always, I always get better because I feel like I've had this body since I was 17 years old. I've been so strong and powerful, and I've had, ability to move technically sometimes. It's how relaxed I can keep my mind and how focused I can stay in that focused mindset and be on my toes and play the game properly. It's hit, don't get hit. At the end of the day, whether it's boxing, Muay Thai, jiu-jitsu, striking, it's gain a point on your side and try not to let them have any points. Nothing is easy. I'm on every single point. You can't shoot on me. You can't get a takedown. You ain't going to take my back. And if you do, I'm just on to the next point already. I'm trying to go 2 points ahead of that. So just keep moving, keep flowing, and they can't stop the flow. It's like water. It's going to get through the crack, and I'm going to squeak my way through, and then it's going to be the wall's going to come down. It's going to be a big flood. Ooh.
Love it. All right, Mike, we also have UFC bantamweight Vince Morales here with us. Vince, what do you have for Platinum Mike Perry?
Hey, Mike, we met a couple months ago at the PI. I'm a big fan. I like your style. I just had one question for you.
Bro.
Yeah, for sure, man. You sound super motivated, highly focused. I'm just curious as to, as fighters, I think our motivation comes in spurts sometimes. I'm just curious what got the momentum rolling for you. It's just because, like I said, you sound super motivated and super focused. Or is this coming from the motivation from the last fight, your performance, or was it something before that kind of shifted your mindset into the title mindset?
Maybe it's maturity, growing up a little bit, settling down a little bit, but trying to hold on to that explosive, crazy kid that's in there that I can use at the right time because he's all trained up, and it's just trying to be smarter about all my decisions and staying focused on the path, not drinking as much these days. There was a little bit there I was drinking. I think that affects your mind. Everything is mental. And then another thing is, how many times have I learned the same thing over and over and over again, and I've seen the same thing a million different ways. And, out of everything in life, now I know what to expect a little bit more, and I still know that I still don't know it all. So
I hear you. Well, I like that, man. I appreciate the insight on that. I look forward to your next one, man. I'm excited for you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you guys. We're going deep. I can't just give a simple answer. You know what I mean? This stuff is so spiritual and mental and
it's crazy. Real.
Crazy.
You said settling down, and this is where we get a little personal. You can stop me if you want, but I thought I saw you back with your significant other. Is that part of what you were saying, settling down? And I thought I saw that on social media a few weeks ago.
Sure. Just relaxing in general in life. Yes, just chilling out a little bit more. And one of the biggest things I learned from the farther I got in the fighting, 10 fights in UFC, you learn a lot between 1 and 10. And one of those things was patience. One of those things big time was just patience, just waiting, and how to set the guy up with your patience.
Okay.
But you can't just stand there now. In fighting, it means like the ref will be like, "Come on, let's work." There's ways to go around being patient and still look like you're working too. So
let me toss out a couple names at you, and you tell me if they get your tail wagging. What about Vicente Luque? I think that'd be a great fight, wouldn't it? He's got a little bit of a buzz going in the sport.
I sleep him, man. He on that win streak because he's throwing hands, and at the end, it's bro. He don't want to do that. What, bro? He was just throwing hands with Brian Barberena, and I was like, oh my god, it's a wrap. If anybody opens up and to hit me like that. That's another thing about the Cowboy Cerrone. He didn't open up. We didn't hit each other because somebody gotta. I tried to hit him a little bit, but it's the grappling. You can't really hit somebody when you're grappling them full force. So now I'm grappling all the time. I'm ready to strike people in grappling positions. Anyways, Vincent Luque don't want the smoke. If he does, give me a call, sign the contract, we'll set it up. I don't care.
There's another guy, Eliseo Zaleski dos Santos, another guy from Brazil. He's like 6-1, 7-1. So I think he's like on where we can match him up with you. You know what I mean?
7-1 in the UFC.
Yeah, he's ranked in the top 15, top 10, depending on what rankings you're looking at. You know much about that guy or no? Eliseo Zaleski dos Santos.
Dos Santos. Mm-hmm. In the top 15 of welterweight?
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know.
No?
I'd have to look, but I mean, sure. I that's how we used to pick him. Back in the day, you don't know nothing about the guy. You just walk out there and punch him in the face.
All right. How soon do you think you will be fighting? Are you already starting to get inquiries from the matchmakers, like about your availability or anything like that? And are you pretty much healthy, ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm ready.
Is there a particular card you want to dance
at? First round management knows that. First round management is talking to him. I heard that the UFC is showing the pressure from me calling out the division on Twitter, and and then I just keep calling them out. I just keep talking shit every day, and look, guys are responding. His hands are still nil. I saw that, thought that was interesting. Thought people might think that's interesting. The Vincent Luque on the win streak, I think that's very interesting for me because on to the next one. It don't matter, bro. It don't matter, bro.
Would you be ready for UFC 241 on August 17th in Anaheim, California?
Yeah, I'm ready.
That'd be nice. That's our old stomping ground, Southern California, and that's headlined by DC and Miocic.
Redemption. I lost in California.
Oh, did you?
That was my first L. That was Joe Ban. That was my first pro MMA L. Joe Ban ran away from me. He got away. He was good. He pointed me. But let me fight him again. His chin looked like it held up to that black guy he just lost to.
Well, that was in Sacramento.
Joe Ban was my first point loss ever. It was fight.
That was in Sacramento. This one would be a little bit further south, but the card is stacked. It's got Nate Diaz versus Anthony Pettis, DC versus Miocic, and it's also got Yoel Romero against Paulo Costa. So imagine getting Mike Perry versus Vicente Luque or Jeff Neal or something. Hell yeah, it's Christmas.
Let's go. Or Nick Diaz.
All right, one last thing here. Who do you think will be at the top by the time you're fighting for a title? Like the next two participants are Covington and Usman. Who do you think will be at the top when you're fighting for a world title in 2020 or if you think you can get in there late this year? What do you think?
I feel like, I could end up fighting Jorge Masvidal for the title.
Okay.
And,
so you're thinking he gets past Askren, Ben Askren?
Yeah, I'm going for Masvidal in that fight. And if Ben Askren beats him, it doesn't matter. I know I'll be at the top. I'm at the top now. If you talk about UFC fighting, I'm in the conversation because I'm fun and exciting and I'm trying to knock people out and I get hit sometimes too and I eat that shit like candy.
Like 3 pies and Cool Whip on top, right?
Yeah. Ooh, the mystery flavor is pumpkin pie, dog. It's cherry and blueberry, and then a pumpkin pie and all the Cool Whip. Ooh.
Are you going to be in Vegas anytime soon, or was that like a cameo you made a few months ago?
Cameo. They used to, because I said it once. I was like, man, I want to look at property in Las Vegas. I looked at property in Las Vegas. Listen, if I'm going to put money on real estate, I'm trying to rent the house out. I'm trying to buy something else. This fight money, this ain't the NFL. I ain't getting the NFL money yet. I got to get some pay-per-view money. I know people will pay per view to watch Platinum Mike Perry beat anybody's ass, main event, anywhere. It don't matter. But it's all right. I'll get mine when time is due. And I just keep fighting till then. I got a good 10, 15, 20 years in front of me. That's the name of the game. Staying in this bit.
All right, I'll just take it that you might be in Vegas sometime soon, though, right? Maybe look at property again.
Shoot, I always fight in Vegas. I'll probably fight in Vegas next year.
All right, we'd love to have you in studio sometime. But it was great catching up with you tonight. So thanks, as always, for your time. And I hope you get the fight that you deserve because, like I say, you're an established name. Fans love it when you fight. Our media, I know the media get excited about it. I know our traffic does well on MMA Junkie on Mike Perry-related stories. So, like I say, man, you get a lot of people pumped up for your fights, and you deserve to get paid and big fights from here on out.
I appreciate you, man. Nothing to it. I hope I get the fight that the fans want to see. Me versus Justin Bieber. And Tom Cruise. No, I appreciate you guys.
All right.
MMA Junkie, bro.
All right, we'll see you, Mike.
Mike Perry, I'm out this bit.
Take care. We'll see you. I think he could beat them both.
Yeah,
at the same time, and they could have baseball bats in their hands, and I would still take Mike Perry. No, literally, like if Bruce Buffer was announcing them, and they're standing there with bats, and it's just Perry, and it was like a betting window, I'd go, give me everything I got, whatever's in my pocket here, just give me Perry. Yeah, he's a savage, man. On Twitter @Platinum Perry, and we're gonna take a quick break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 156.
Both iPhone and Android carry a feature to make their show more enjoyable. It's called the mute button. Here are those two numbnuts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
Okay, a quick update on the basketball game. The Toronto Raptors are up 35-34. There's still 10 minutes left in the second period, so plenty of time there for that game. And we have Vince Morales here in studio with us. And the producer's getting in my ear. There's something they want me to do, and I believe it's called the read. The read for this hour is
The following.
You
guys ready? It's going to be a good one.
Two of the best teams in baseball battle tonight in Los Angeles as the Dodgers take on the Chicago Cubs. Catch the live play-by-play beginning at 10 Eastern on Sirius 219, XM 184. Then after the game, make MLB Network Radio your post-game destination on Sirius 209, XM 89, and streaming on your phone and at home on Sirius XM connected devices and speakers. All right, guys. I want to ask you a question, Vince. We're going to have a big discussion one day about the best combat sports athlete ever. So one day Goes and our other co-host that comes in on Mondays and Fridays, Dan, he'll probably be here. Maybe a fighter or two. We'll try to use as many mics as we can, or maybe have people on the phone. But one thing we're at an impasse over is, so it all started with Henry Cejudo saying, I'm the greatest combat sports athlete ever. He has a point. He's won an Olympic gold medal and 2 UFC titles simultaneously, too. So who else can top him? And could you include, here's the key question, in the conversation, could you include pro wrestling? I say yes, because even though the outcome's predetermined, you don't just walk into a championship. Like, you got to pay your dues, and you got to train hard, be good on the mic, and you got to get pinned, and pin others, and bleed, and you know what I mean? It's like this journey to get to the top before Vince McMahon or whatever promotion you're in finally says that guy's going to be a champion tonight. And even then, you go out there and there's athleticism. Look, are they punching themselves? No. All the way? No. But some of those slams are pretty vicious. Or getting thrown off a cage is pretty vicious, or through a table or whatever. Anyway, I'll start off by saying Kurt Angle was a gold medalist in the Olympics. He went in and became a world champion. Brock Lesnar, UFC champion, NC2A wrestling champion, WWE heavyweight champion. You know, Go says no mostly because of the predetermined outcome, right?
Yeah.
So I don't even know how we could have the conversation, I guess, if most of my people are going to get eliminated. I think what Ronda did was amazing. You know, judoka bronze medal, UFC champ, and pro wrestling champ. What are your thoughts?
Main thing I took away from that, I can't include. This coming from a guy who used to watch like WWF with like The Rock and stuff. I used to be all about that as a kid and stuff. Finding out it was fake was worse than like Santa being fake. But I can't include that in.
No.
I can't do it for the combat sports.
Why?
The predetermined outcome.
Yeah. I mean, for you, that's the stance? That's predetermined outcome?
Yeah, man. It'd be like me if you guys are talking about the greatest military minds in the world, and then me going, I'm pretty good at Risk and Call of Duty. So,
oh, my God, dude. Would you be saying that if Bully Ray was here? And some of the ones that have bled. And
my main problem is it's not the same thing. Yeah. They're just they're two different things.
Well, I'm not going to push back too hard, because when I looked up combat sports, usually pro wrestling wasn't included in it. It was taekwondo, boxing, wrestling. All right. So if we leave it out, who has a right to claim that tops Henry Cejudo?
That tops Henry Cejudo, I think he's probably the closest, but I still can't even say it for him. I don't think there is one.
I can think of one.
Who's that?
Well, no. I mean, I can think of one to just include in the conversation, but I think Henry wins.
Yeah, okay.
Alistair Overeem was a Strikeforce heavyweight champion, a Dream heavyweight champion,
K1,
but he was a K1 World Max Grand Prix champion as well. So that was the highest level of kickboxing. So that's
fought multiple weight classes.
Some major world titles. Fought multiple weight classes as well. So let's just say that world kickboxing cancels out the gold medal. He hasn't won 2 division titles like Henry has, and at the highest level, which is the UFC.
Right. Andre wants to jump in.
Andre wants to weigh in, and he's a pro wrestling fan, so you guys are going to get it
really
right now.
Go ahead,
Andre. What are your thoughts?
Mad, Andre.
All right. I'm a mark, and I'm proud of it, but I have to side with Goes on this one. I can't count it all together because, with UFC and Bellator and any form of MMA, boxing, kickboxing, anything, you actually fight and find your way there. Wins and losses matter. With the WWE, however, it's like you have like the Money in the Bank briefcase, which Brock Lesnar holds now, where he can just cash it in any time. It's like he didn't earn anything to get there. And it's happened a whole lot of cases where there's people that haven't really showed the world what they got, but they'll have these little opportunities and get these titles out of nowhere. And there's like a whole line of bullshit that follows that. So in this case, because wins losses don't matter,
athleticism's taking place out there. You got to be pretty good at this. Because otherwise, I could do it. I'm over 200 pounds. I could just walk. I got a belly. I'll just be a pro wrestler. I can't do a lot of what they do. I can't do hardly any of that stuff.
Yeah, but
see?
they also
they have to do something like that.
The best athletes talk, but not combat.
Yeah,
I mean, some combat's taking place, though.
Yeah,
they're not high-fiving. They're not, like, playing rock, paper, scissors. I mean, yeah, I know some is scripted, but, like...
They're still working together with
it,
they
like,
let me give you an example.
I can't just go out there and go... Like, even if Brock goes, when we go out there, slam me. Like, that's the first thing you're going to do. Mm-hmm. Dude, I'd walk out there, and I don't even know if I'd get him up and slam him. Like, I don't even know if I could. All that is, like, there's athleticism. There's some technique to it. There's some violence. Not on the level of MMA. I get that. Not on the level of boxing. I get that. But, like I pointed out yesterday, I've been to your karate tournaments, and, yeah, some guys get jacked up. But sometimes it's just a boop, chop in the chest. And if you get enough of those, you advance. So it's not like I was like, oh, my God, how violent or anything like that. So I don't know that violence is always, or maybe the word combat is so key. I'm just saying, like, you have to be pretty good before the guy, who is he, not the matchmaker, but the promoter, goes, you will be a champion tonight. Like, you have to pay your dues to get there. Now, I know there's a few that didn't, like Courtney Cox's ex-husband. I think he got his way into
David Arquette.
Yeah, I think Vince McMahon got one. Okay, yeah, I get that. But if we look back in history, there was a fireman that won it as well. You know what I mean?
Does that mean we got to include people like Jackie Chan, though?
No.
It's not that crazy because they are acting and they have the talent.
It's kind of
right?
that same scenario.
Okay, if I were throwing when you're working combinations, right? There's certain times where you're not only throwing, but whoever's holding the mitts, he's going to throw back, and you have to be able to roll with it and move, right? That's not easy to do. It takes a while to kind of get it. You're going to get thumped upside the head a couple times, right? If you do that in training and practice, okay. But it's way different in a fight if somebody's actually throwing it and you don't know that it's coming. There's a big difference. That's the difference between pro wrestling is they know it's kind of like hitting mitts, and then the actual fight, way more impressive to be able to do those things with somebody actually, you don't know what's coming. Is it a right,
I know it's not on the level of
just not
raw.
it's not the same as the thing. That's my big problem. It's just not the same. Yeah, it's not the same.
That's kind of key. Okay.
But combats, what are the combat sports, guys? Boxing, wrestling, MMA, we have no problem including those, right?
None.
But when we get into taekwondo, karate, capoeira, judo, or whatever, and breaking it all down, aren't there some of those that maybe are on the level of pro? I mean, otherwise, why is the WWE worth so much money? I mean, there's an appreciation for what's going on out there. I know it's part acting, but that part, going back to the pie, is 10%. It's a lot of athleticism that's also taking place there.
There's definitely athleticism, but the key word is combat. That's the key word in this whole thing.
And if there's a true winner and loser, like a true one.
Because all the other sports, nothing is predetermined. All the ones that you named, right? Wrestling, whatever, with taekwondo, even if it's fencing, it's not predetermined. It's the only one that's predetermined. That's what separates it from everything else. I swear I love pro wrestling. I don't want to shit on them. I'm not trying not to. It's just something that's different. Is my only argument in all this.
I need King Mo. King Mo's dabbled in both. MMA, wrestling, or I should say 3. And he was always immersed in the Mayweather gym here in Vegas. I think maybe he has an idea. But like I said, this is all just appetizers. One day we're going to have a whole 2-hour show just on this. Maybe have some call-ins and get some other media people involved. Or
they can get crazy because think about it. Hockey has fights.
Hockey right? does have fights, yeah.
They keep records of those fights?
So Henry Cejudo's got that title then, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's the greatest combat sports athlete of all time?
I mean, I guess you can say that.
Who else has done that type of...
You know what's
there's been a lot of wrestlers that have come over and done MMA. Like Matt Lindland was a silver medalist.
Schultz He was in a UFC, like UFC 8.
But not a UFC
right?
champ.
Yeah.
He was he a tournament champ?
No.
He just won one
He just
fight.
won one
right?
fight.
Yeah. However, how about the guys that do Abu Dhabi? So high-level jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also come over and win like a Jacare.
Jacare,
If Jacare
yeah.
gets a belt along to go with Abu Dhabi titles that he has.
And his Strikeforce
I would
title,
count.
right?
I would
Yeah,
count
oh, that's
stuff like
right.
that.
I
would count him in
apologize.
there. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so then he's got to be a little bit. At least he's got to be nominated. I'm not saying he's it.
You know how you have to nitpick? One thing that I would say, like if Henry were to ask me, what do I have to do still? I would say, you know what's going to help you? If you get a submission win, right? Because now you're showing that you have even another facet to your game, right? You're well-rounded, right? Knockouts, submissions. He's won fights, different weight classes. You really have to nitpick everything to separate yourself from everyone else.
Holly Holm was a professional boxing champion and a UFC champion. And I know she kickboxed. And I saw her wearing some belts. I just don't know if it was the highest level. Like,
See, she was somebody that I first thought of when you were asking the question, too, just because of that.
You know what I'd like to get educated on?
What's that?
Not to shit on other people, but don't you hear Golden Gloves too? Like, do they have one of those every month or something? Everybody's a Golden
Pretty
Gloves
often,
winner, right?
yeah.
Is it that often?
They're pretty often, yeah.
So is it like big now?
So
at
it's
this point,
similar
or?
to this. Have you ever heard somebody when they go, he's a 27-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion?
Yeah.
The reason is because you
Tough
can become
man.
a champion as a
Tournament
white
here,
belt
tournament here.
and a blue belt and a brown belt in different types of titles. So, you could be one of those, but never be an Abu Dhabi champion, perhaps.
Who was a tough man winner? Was that Baroni? Do you remember that back in the day?
I don't know, but I know Mr. T won a tough man competition.
Did he,
Yeah.
Mr. T?
Yeah, they had to ring a bell at the end. It was like an obstacle course, run through a wall, and then he rang a bell, and that was his claim to fame. And then he became Clubber Lang against Rocky Balboa in Rocky 3.
No, Tough Man was like the 3-round boxing.
Oh,
right?
that.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
What do you think? Tough Mudder? Is that what you're
No,
saying?
no. It was an actual tough man competition.
Oh,
and I guess he used to be a bouncer.
like Wild World of Sports type?
Something like that. No, real tough men, and they had to go through a bunch of different exercises or obstacles, and he actually won it. So,
Sounds
all
like
right.
it's before my time.
I think so. Hey, man, it was a blast having you. You really contributed to all the topics. Great question from Mike Perry. So maybe one day you'll be a broadcaster when your fighting days are done.
I wouldn't complain about that. That
Yeah.
sounds like a good time. Yeah, heck yeah. No, thank you for having me.
We'd love
though.
to
It's
have
been
you
a great
back,
time.
especially knowing that you're in Vegas. Maybe we can do it a little more often.
Oh, yeah, I'm right there. Just let me know.
Oh, yeah?
I'm all about it. This was a great time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So let me get some Twitter handles out there for the audience to follow. Vince is at Vendetta135. Platinum Perry is for Mike Perry. And we didn't get out Eric Albarracin, but you can still follow him. CPT, DAS, Americas. Capitan das Americas. We'll probably get him for tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow we'll have Chris Curtis here in studio, Alexa Grasso, and Montana De La Rosa. So, for Vince, Andre Beck East goes. I'm George. Have a nice evening. Go out there. Be a champion, especially the Raptors.
All clear.